Hello and welcome to our second episode of the Double A Show. It's been a while, but we are finally back. This is Ashwin.
And this is Arvind.
So Arvind, a lot of eventful sports have taken place over the weeks.
Like cricket, US Open, Asian Games, and soccer.
First, let's begin with cricket. So, India's comeback in the third test, after being thrashed in the first two tests. So, what do you think India has actually changed in the third test to attain success?
So I think comparing with both the tests, India's opening attack has been changed. Like it's been a long time where India had got a 50-run partnership in opening partnership, and this third test we got 60 partnership, exactly 60 partnership in both the innings. It was a good start, and even strike rate wise, both the openers have played very quick with the new ball, and they got the lead which was required. Especially KL Rahul. He played more than 100 strike rate, I guess. And the second point would be Hardik Pandya. He changed the match in 17 balls, and he also got 50. So as Kohli was saying, he's the Ben Stokes of Indian team. I think in this series he was better than Ben Stokes because he was contributing in all the departments. And so, what do you think? Where England has lagged in the third test?
So, before we look at the third test, the main reason why England was successful in the first two tests because they had individual performance. It wasn't like a whole team performance if you see, because in the first test, Sam Curran bowled a very good spell in his starting. Then after that, with the bat, he took the match away from India and increased the chasing score for India. And in the second test, Chris Woakes, turned it around with a quick 100. So that was probably an unexpected one. And those two things, and of course Jimmy Anderson with the ball, and Ben Stokes also did a great job with the ball. All these, contributed, but there was not a overall contribution. The third test, there was probably only Joss Butler and I think Ben Stokes in the second innings who actually tried to bat and tried to spend some time in the crease. Guys like Joe Root and Alistair Cook did not really have too much success, and they are not at their best, who England really depend on. So probably that was one of the reasons where India exploited and they were successful.
And yeah, especially in second innings, Bumrah bowled a very great spell.
Yeah, exactly. And getting Bairstow out also, who was in form. That is a good point. Getting back to India. I wanted to ask you this about the form of Rahane and Pujara. Has eased Kohli's batting a little bit.
Yeah, I think. See, we no need of talking about Kohli's performance.
Exactly.
Actually, as we were positive about him in our first episode, and he has performed as we were expecting he should perform, and he has performed. And good thing that Jimmy Anderson couldn't get his wicket till now.
Yes.
And the point about Pujara and Rahane, Rahane was getting good starts in first two tests, but he was throwing away his wicket, or there were some good balls. But in third test, where he was expected to perform, he has finally performed, and that was very comfortable and confident innings. And on the other side, it was Kohli, where they had few good partnerships in past as well.
Right.
And Pujara, it was very shocking that he was dropped from the first test.
Yeah.
Like as we have predicted our 11, we had Pujara in both our teams, but he was not picked. That was a bit surprising. But again, in second test, he threw away his wicket. He got run out.
Yeah.
But he got third test.
He tried to hit a big one. He got out.
So, but in third test he scored. He almost got a century, and it was a bit of match-winning performance. So it's good for next two tests because both are like our middle order now looks bit strong, and also openers were confident.
Yes. Overall, it's an all-round performance, and positives to go back into the fourth test. Very good.
So before ending this, let's look at the summary of all the three matches. So this was the summary of our three tests. So as we know, England lead by 2-1 in the series. And before actually ending the cricket segment, I want to ask one point. What do you think about Murali Vijay getting dropped from the test team? Was it harsh, or it's good that Prithvi Shaw was picked, and it's good for Indian cricket future?
Definitely. Let's forget the drop for a second and say, picking youngsters is definitely a good boost, and you want to train them for the future, like Prithvi Shaw and Hanuman Vihar. You have been doing well in the domestic circuit as well. But a little harsh, I felt, from Murali Vijay. He's probably been one of our best batsmen abroad, especially last year in the Lords. I mean, a few years back, he was a high scorer, if you see that. But yes, in the past few performances in South Africa, he wasn't the best. Then again, when we see the stats, you see only Kohli's been the highest run get. After that, it's Hardik Pandya, and you expect Vijay to be there. He's not been there. But the chances what Dhawan got, and Rohit Sharma on one day also for that fact. I think Vijay was a little unlucky, and maybe he's 34, could be, but I really think his test career is kind of finished right now. So in short, for your question, it is harsh.
Actually, picking on that point, 34 age, he actually needs to go back to Ranji.
Yes.
He needs to perform there, come back, and he needs to clear the yo-yo test.
Wow. That's a
so
big jump
I
for
think
him.
I think it's almost impossible for Vijay to come back, as we have good openers in our domestic circuit, like Mayank Agarwal as well.
Competition is very, very fierce right now.
Yeah.
I think it's good in a way.
So
for
it's
youngsters.
good.
So let's hope. I mean, hopefully in the fourth test we will have some different, aspects, and I'm pretty sure the youngsters may not get the chance right away, but it's good for them to get a hit at the net and all that.
Yeah. So let's end our cricket with some stats which we can show you about how Indian batsmen have performed
Abroad.
Yeah. So let's start with our tennis segment. So Ashwin, US Open has started, and so what do you think? Who are the favorites, and what's your pick on individual players?
Well, if you look at favorites right now, my favorite, of course, to win is Djokovic right now, the way he's going at the stage. But I think this US Open is going to be a little more competitive when you take into account of the Australian French Open and all, because we see Stanislas Wawrinka's hit form. He upset Grigor Dimitrov, world number 8, so that was a good win. So it's very good to see him get back in form. Apart from that, of course, Federer and Nadal are always going to be knocking the doors. Juan Martin Del Potro, he's looking really strong. He's moved to a career best world number 3 now, and that's where he belongs, so it's going to be again interesting. So I think this US Open will see some upsets, but at the same time it's going to be extremely competitive.
So before talking anything, we need to appreciate Djokovic. He has won all the 9 Masters, which no one has ever done, with his win at Cincinnati. And so what do you think, Djokovic hitting
that's a very good point you mentioned. I think that's something which really needs to be appreciated. He had come into the game a little after Federer and Djokovic, but after achieving that feat, it's unbelievable. He took out Federer in the Cincinnati finals, and he's just getting better and better. I think after winning Wimbledon, he's hit a little bit of high confidence. I still feel he's not at his best, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get there very soon, and he's going to create a lot of problems for Federer and Nadal.
Yeah, actually I was about to ask that. So how come, like, we were seeing Djokovic losing in very initial stage, and all of a sudden, how come he's getting, and he has already won one Grand Slam and Masters?
I mean, it's harsh to say that, he's a player, who's not going to make it to the top. He had won 12 Grand Slams for a reason. It was a matter of time that he understands and he figures himself out. And I think getting back with his old coach, with Vajda, like he had split with him at the start of the year and probably end of last year too. I think getting back with him, I think he's started to get back to his basics, initial routines, and work on his defense, which was his major strength. Counterpunch is something he's been more successful with, and he's gotten back to it, and he's doing it more successfully right now. Getting more balls back and attacking it right after when he needs it. So I think that he's kind of figuring himself out. He's kind of figuring his strengths more than anything else. So I think that has been one of his major paths towards success.
So I had this question every time. After Steffi Graf and Hingis, there has been never a consistent winner. I know Serena has been winning.
In the women's circuit.
Yeah, in women's circuit,
yes.
Serena has been winning consistently. But apart from Serena, there is no one player who would win the Grand Slam, and yes. there has been new winner every time. Yeah. So what do you think? Why is it happening?
It's another very good point and a good question you've asked here. I think I think we can look at it at a positive side, because there are a lot of this. The competition in the women's tennis has picked up. Not only in women's tennis. I mean, this is also very good for women's sports. If you see, like so much competition coming up, and so the top players are not safe anymore. You see now Simona Halep.
She lost.
She got beaten, but she won the French Open earlier this year. And youngsters like Madison Keys, Sloane Stephens from America, are slowly coming up and making it very, very competitive. And I think it's very good for women's sports right now, because before it was just 2-3 players who were like, marking the territory. But now they're not safe. I think it's like even if you're the top seed, you're going to be watchful even in the first round, like what happened to Simona Halep.
So before ending our tennis segment, one last question. What do you think about Australian players like De Minaur and Nick Kyrgios?
Alex has just come up, Alex De Minaur that is. He's just moved up the radar recently, especially when Leighton Hewitt started coaching him. So it's very impressive the way he's been doing. I think he's won a challenger recently, and after that he's moving up consistently, and I think he's moved into the second round too. He beat a Japanese player, which was a very good win. I think with Leighton Hewitt he's more safe, I think, because he's made him understand, and hard work is something which Leighton Hewitt always followed, and that's the same attitude which Alex has gotten. So I think he's one player to watch out for. I don't know about Nick Kyrgios. A lot of people say he's talented, but I've never had too much respect for him. He's a good kid, definitely, but he's been up there, he's been there in the circuit for a while, and it's high time he performs, because if he sets an example, that's where all the youngsters will look up. But he's got this negative attitude. Recent news where he forgot his shoes for a tennis match. You can't keep doing those things. When you're the best player in your country, you set as an example. I mean, you want to set an example, and people need to respect you. But I think Alex De Minaur is going to come up before that. He's going to be the major example for all the youngsters.
So that's it in our tennis segment.
Now let's jump into our soccer segment, which took place in the third week of the Premier League. We'll start off with Manchester City versus the Wolves. And Wolves, as you know, this is their first season after being relegated, and they tied with Manchester City, and that kind of shocked some of our fans. What do you feel about it?
I think definitely below par for performance by Manchester City, because they have won last two matches very comfortably. But Wolves, they can take this to home because they drew with City, but they haven't got a win after getting relegated. That's it from this match. But I think it would be good for City, and they would get into the winning in the next match.
That's a good one. Okay, so the next one for us is Arsenal's 3-1 win against West Ham, and Arsenal also playing with a new manager.
Yeah, I think they're with a win in this Premier League, and it's a first win for Emery. And they struggled in first half, but thanks to the one own goal and goal by Welbeck, that made them take home.
Right.
So it's good for the Gunners.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So very quickly now, let's look into our other two matches: Liverpool's success and Chelsea as well. Liverpool winning 1-0 against Brighton, and Chelsea with a 2-1 win against Newcastle.
Liverpool, I think it's again a below par performance from Liverpool. They would have not expected this, but at the end of the day they have got 3 points, which is required, and they move to the top of the table, and thanks to first half goal from Mo Salah. Mm-hmm. They would be expecting more better performance in the next match, but they're happy at the end of the third week. As I said, they're in the top of the table. Coming to our next match, Chelsea maintained their 100% record at the start of the season, and it was a good goal by Eden Hazard from 12 yards goal, but the away team, Chelsea, has lost their lead when Newcastle has started scoring. They also got own goal, which helped Chelsea to win this match. Right. It was a bit of controversial in between, but finally at the end of the day, Chelsea take 3 points.
Win is a win finally. Yeah. Finally, I think the match which most of the viewers and probably the soccer fans are more keen about is the Spurs' shocking win over Manchester United, 3-0. Did you even expect that?
No, I think Spurs both are good teams, but United being at their home, Old Trafford, and I didn't expect that Spurs would win that easily. Mm-hmm. Cruising 3-0 is like almost a crushing. Yeah. And United, They haven't lost in Old Trafford after 2014 by a London-based team, and in 2014 Spurs has defeated them, and again Spurs have
So two
defeated them.
times again, so they have
Yeah.
a mental block against, looks like, against
Yeah.
Spurs.
And so I think it's much of a worry for Joseph Mourinho, the manager who is always every time in the news. Even after this lose, he was talking controversial stuff to the reporters.
Yeah.
I think Manchester now slipped down to 13th position.
That's right. Okay,
And-
as you mentioned about the spots now, so looking at the top three teams right now, we've got Liverpool, Spurs, and Chelsea all tied with 9 points.
Yeah.
So, well, looking at that, we wrap up our soccer section now. So now let's go into our final segment for today's episode. That is going to be Asian Games. So, going over India's performance this year, it's been a pretty consistent performance, I think, with 9 gold medals. And let's look into the tennis with Divid Sharan and Rohan Bopanna winning the gold for India. Something different apart from Leander and Mahesh Bhupati. And also the badminton. What do you thought on that?
Yeah, we got two medals in women's. Saina is getting bronze and PV Sindhu getting silver.
That was a very good achievement. And Hima Das finishing second, again winning the silver in the 400 meters.
And one thing which there's a record where Neeraj Chopra has clinched gold medal in javelin throw, and he also got gold in Commonwealth, which previously it was done by only Milka Singh, who got in running, where he got gold in Commonwealth and Asian as well.
Yeah, so a lot of positives to take from it,
Yeah.
I think. So, well, that brings us to the end of our second episode. To begin with, we would like to apologize for this delay. I know we will try to get all our videos by every week, hopefully. So, finally, we just want to finish off saying, thanks a lot for watching, and we just want you to do what you've done earlier, give your feedback, give whatever positive or negative feedback. We are more than happy, to learn from it and try to get better. So, Arvind?
So, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe.
And once again, last part is please feel free to talk about any topic, mention any topic which you want us to talk about, so that as we are sports lovers, as we mentioned. So thanks a lot for sitting through it. Hope to see
Thank
you
you.
again soon.